I got to ask you about the Poker Hall of Fame class of 2016. Todd Brunson, Carlos Mortensen. What are your thoughts? I know that when Todd Brunson won his bracelet, you were the guy he beat heads up, so you've got some close ties with him.
Yeah, I'm pretty friendly with Todd. He probably deserved to get in based on beating me for that one bracelet. And no, he had you have to win a bracelet, so he won that one bracelet, and he's also played at the highest stakes. Obviously, he played at $1 million stakes against Andy Beal, and he has many other final tables at the World Series. I think we're very close to number of cashes at the World Series, around 50 or so each. I don't remember the exact number. One of the qualifications is standing the test of time. Obviously, he's done that. He's probably been playing for over 20 years at the highest stakes possible. Having respect of your peers, obviously, the entire corporation gave them their money to play against Andy Beal. If he didn't have respect of his peers, they would never have done that. So obviously, it seems like a reasonable choice. And Carlos Mortensen, he's got the number one ROI ever in tournament poker. So he just seems like a really obvious choice. He won the WPT championship. He won two other open WPT events. He won the main event. He final tabled the main event a few years ago. So, I mean, his record is unmatched by anybody. He's got the number one ROI in tournaments in history of any player. So how could you not put Carlos Mortensen in? That seems like a no-brainer. The person I thought was slighted, a few people were slighted, would be Ted Forrest. He's played at the highest stakes possible. He's got at least 5 bracelets.
You mentioned the corporation, Alan. We had Michael Craig on, author of The Professor Banker Suicide King, and he called Ted Forrest the biggest gambler in the world, and he's certainly been around a long, long time.
Talking about respecting your peers, Ted Forrest, there's nobody that wants to play Ted Forrest heads up in any game. The guy is just an amazing poker player. There's a hand, if you could ever find this hand on YouTube, it's an amazing hand, where he plays Chad Brown heads up and stud high, and he misses everything, but he does have a pair of twos at the end of the hand, and he bets the twos for value because he knows the twos are good in 7-card stud, which is really, really unlikely. Yeah, it's just an amazing hand to watch. The fact that he knows his twos are good in a 7-card stud, where bottom pair is almost never good in a 7-card game, and he just knows it is good, and he bets 7th Street for value, not as a bluff. He just knows his hand is good, and I've asked him about this hand many times. He said, "I just knew my, I knew my." And if you watch, he just played Phil Hellmuth heads up in Raz and beat him for another bracelet. The guy is just amazing. So he would have at least been on my nomination ballot. He wasn't even one of the choices, let alone having a chance to be picked. He wasn't even one of the choices, like out of the 10 people. And another one I would have picked would have been Huck Seed. He won the main event. He won the NBC heads up. He's got multiple bracelets. He plays at the highest stakes possible. Definitely has respect of his peers. He was never even nominated either. So those would have been the two that I thought got slighted. I think Mattisau also thinks he got slighted, but he hasn't really done much in recent years, and maybe that had something to do with it. And plus, he's got an abrasive personality. But if you look at it just at his poker record and what he's done for poker, he was one of the most popular players, like in the early 2000s on television. Playing in the high stakes cash game, the high stakes poker, and on all those WSOP episodes, he would always be on the feature table with Raymer and whoever else. So I think he would be another one that I would consider to be on the list that was not even on the list. So those would be my 3 selections that to at least consider for next year against Phil Ivey. Phil Ivey's going to be the first pick. But those 3 people, I think, should at least be on the list. As a second choice would be Huck Seed, Ted Forrest, Mike Mattisau, and some of the other ones that were already on the list, like Devilfish was a good choice. Chris Bjorn, an excellent choice. The guy's been playing for like 50 years. He's got respect of anybody in any game that he plays. So that would probably be my World Series Hall of Fame analysis.